Hello and welcome to week 3 of Transformations, People of God. This series is featuring a person of God that you might know pretty well. You. Yeah, that's right. You are a person of God, and we are studying you. Well, we're studying God's voice in you. We're studying how to find calm in the midst of chaos. We're studying how to deal with difficult relationships. And we're talking about who is on your team. Who do you know who's going to have your back? That's what we're focusing on this month, and exploring what it means to be a person of God in a world that doesn't always seem so godly. Our theme is when people challenge you. So we're talking about conflict. We're talking about when it's difficult to deal with your friends. Maybe you've experienced some hurt, some difficult situations with friends. And we're going to be laying down some truth today in a how-to format. So stay tuned, take some notes. The first thing you got to know about conflict resolution, it's important that we take the first step. Take the initiative. This is sort of the hardest part, really. And we can see some stuff in the Bible about it that helps us understand it. In Matthew, there's a part where Jesus is talking about when you go to the altar to worship, when you show up to church. Before you even start worshiping, the first thing you need to do is make things right with the people in your lives. It can really sort of become this burden. It can become this weight on us when we are struggling with a relationship, and that sort of takes a part in your mind and in your heart that distracts you from really getting in touch with yourself. So the first thing you got to do is you got to take the initiative, make things right. And so what that's really saying here is you got to go to that person. You got to go to the person who's talking bad about you. You got to go to the person who maybe you've wronged, maybe you've done something wrong that you feel guilty about. You got to muster up the confidence, you got to muster up the courage given to you by God and approach that person. The thing that you want to avoid doing is going to other people around them, going to other people, and that's called triangulating. When you go to someone else and talk about this person behind their back, it's sort of a way of getting between your fear of actually approaching that person, but man, I gotta tell you, it's gonna feel so much better when you go to that person directly and resolve things face to face. In fact, one of the very first stories in the Bible about Adam and Eve. Now you might remember in the very beginning, God said, look at this gorgeous garden, you can eat anything you want, except for this tree in the middle, and that's called the tree of knowledge. When it came down to it, people are people make mistakes. Adam made a mistake as well as Eve and took a bite of the apple. When God came around the garden, was like, hey, where's Adam? Where's Adam? I'm seeing some evidence here that maybe he took a bite of the fruit. And Adam's like, fruit? What fruit? Adam says, I'm gonna run and hide and cover myself because I am scared of confronting God, of talking to God about what happened, because I feel guilty. I don't feel right about what happened. And what it says in the Bible is that he felt naked. He was aware that he was naked. And what that means, if we interpret it, is that he felt vulnerable. He felt exposed. He felt like he was all of a sudden showing the world that he was a sinful person, that he was broken. Conflict is really hard to deal with. It's hard to step up, to go to the person, to deal with problems face on. But that's what's it's gonna take for us to have the kind of life that we want to have. It's gonna take us mustering up the courage, going to the people that we have difficulties with, and saying right off the bat, look, what's going on here? I know something's wrong between us, but it's not worth for me hiding because it's gonna be all better once we can figure this out. The second thing you gotta know, that it's important for us to confess our part in the situation. We need to be able to go into the situation and know what's going on for us behind the scenes. You know, in Matthew chapter 7, it says, why do you notice the piece of dust in your friend's eye when there's a branch in your own? What that's really saying is that we all have blind spots. We're not going to get it right all the time. I certainly have blind spots. And for us to take a look at ourselves, to look at our hearts and say, hey, what's going on in here for me? Maybe did I wrong this person? Did I have a part in creating this conflict? Maybe I didn't respond so well when it came to this argument we had. You can face yourself, acknowledge that you had a part in the situation, and be gracious with yourself because, hey, we all have a part to play in the brokenness of the world. But the truth is that there's way enough love and forgiveness to go around for us to make it through together. Third thing you gotta know. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1 to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. It's not helpful to go into a situation and get defensive. It's not helpful to go into a situation with your fists up, ready to take a punch. It's easy to feel like you need to defend yourself, to have this long argument about why it's not your fault or what happened behind the scenes. But the truth is it's a lot more helpful if you can listen first and see what's going on from their point of view. When you open your ears to somebody, you give them this honor and dignity and understanding that they have a part in this argument, this conflict. So these are some 3 important points. Now, you're probably asking this. What if this person that you're having a conflict with is toxic or even abusive? And what I say to that, my friends, is that it's okay to get angry. In fact, it's good to get angry in those situations. There's a story about Jesus in the Bible where he came upon this Jewish temple, and in this temple grounds, there were these people selling goods. They were selling their stuff in a sacred place, and that was a big no-no because the sacred space was literally for that, for sacred worship. But instead they came in and capitalized on the situation, took advantage of this open space and the people coming in for worship. Jesus comes in, he sees what's happening, and he grabs the tables and throws them. He gets angry. He sees that there's injustice happening. He sees that something's not right and that people are taking advantage of the situation. And he gets angry. He throws stuff around. He makes a big mess of the place. And so what we can learn from this is that there can be normal conflict between two people. But there are also cases when someone is being nasty and toxic and taking advantage. In those cases, God is standing beside you and is ready to throw down. God is ready to come to your defense and help you have the strength to confront a really unjust situation. In these cases, when people are being toxic or abusive or taking advantage of you, you gotta teach these people how to treat you. And the way that you talk about yourself and the way that you treat them and what you put up with and allow. If someone is bad-mouthing you, confront them. Show them the truth, provide some clarity. Show them that it's not acceptable to treat you in a bad way. God's on your side with that, my friends. We can approach conflict with open hearts, open ears, ready to see both sides. And also there's situations where, man, that stuff goes out the window because when someone's being gross, you gotta show them that it's not acceptable to treat you in a way that's not loving and respectful. Fiona here.
And that is our video for today. Let's talk about relationships. Complicated ones, chaotic ones, good ones, all the ones in between.
Hi, sweetie.
I love you, my friends. Peace and love.
Sorry.